Live from downtown Bakersfield, 23 ABC News at 5 starts now.
Good evening. The oil industry saw record-breaking lows today as COVID-19 continues to impact all aspects of our economy. 23 ABC's Alex Bell shares how the low demand for oil could impact the Kern County's economic future. Alex?
Yes, for many of us, a trip to the gas station these days is few and far between, especially with shelter and order in place and a lot of businesses closed. There's literally just nowhere for us to go. But when us consumers do go to the pump, prices are looking pretty good right now. But I talked to one local expert about what low prices at the pump could mean for Kern County.
First off, we've never seen what is going on today. We've never seen the price of future contracts actually go negative.
U.S. oil prices plunged below zero on Monday, hitting a new record low. The loss in demand for oil caused the market to take a hit amid the coronavirus pandemic, leaving places like Kern County possibly feeling the impact.
We will probably see some bankruptcies in the oil industry because of this.
West Texas Intermediate, a grade of crude oil used as the benchmark in oil pricing, dropped below $1 a barrel, which is the lowest price on record.
We feel it even more here. While many communities across the U.S. applaud when the price of oil goes down, we don't here because we know it not only affects us at the pump, but it affects jobs. A lot of jobs are created here because of oil.
While consumers see a win with lower prices at the pump, for several businesses, it could be a sign of hard times ahead.
Usually that's a great thing because it stimulates the economy. The problem is most people can't take advantage of it right now because they're not traveling, they're isolated. And which is why we have this problem. There's just too much oil, not enough places to store it, and it's driving the prices down.
According to AAA, nationally, the average of gas prices is down more than $1 a gallon from where they were a year ago. AAA figures show that gas prices last year were about $4. Today, the current average is about $2.70 a gallon. Sam Judah, who owns 7 Samco food stores and gas stations in Kern County, says right now his gas prices align with the national average, something that's unheard of in California.
And the lowest prices we have right now is at $2.69 per gallon.
Judah tells 23 ABC people are filling up because it's cheaper, but it's taking them longer to use the gas.
Instead of once a week right now, we're seeing a customer every 2 weeks.
But some money experts say the longer businesses remain shut down, the longer the recovery process is for the economy.
Even if the coronavirus were to disappear tomorrow, it's not like you turn the economy back on like a light switch and then tomorrow everybody's out. So it's going to take some time here. How long it's going to take really depends on how long the coronavirus is around. But, we're in this for the long term, so don't expect any major positive changes in the near future.
Now, the good news for consumers right now is, of course, taking advantage of these low gas prices. And many experts say using apps like Gas Buddy can help you navigate those low prices around town. Reporting from Bakersfield, I'm Alex Bell for 23 ABC News, connecting you.
All right, Alex, thanks. A stunning day on Wall Street Monday after oil crashed into negative territory. Crude futures finished the day at less than negative $37 per barrel. It's the first time this has happened since oil futures began trading in 1983. Analysts say it's due primarily to the COVID-19 pandemic, which has created a massive dip in demand for oil. The crash hit the Dow the hardest, taking almost 2.5% away from the index. We want to turn now to the new numbers from the Kern County Public Health Department. They are reporting more than 650 cases, but also more than 230 patients who have recovered. The Public Health Department says there are 652 positive cases in total. 643 residents and 9 non-residents have tested positive. The death toll remains at 3. However, officials also add that 234 patients have recovered. As for other testing totals, more than 4,600 people have tested negative and more than 3,500 tests are still pending. Let's take a look at the breakdown per region. The most cases coming from Bakersfield East with 330. Officials reporting 197 cases in Bakersfield West, 80 in the Valley, 18 in both the mountain and desert regions. Several residents rallying in downtown Bakersfield to protest for reopening businesses, not only here in Bakersfield, but around the state.
I think our government is trying to control us, and I think that we need to get off our couch and open up our businesses and don't let them put so much control over us. We have our First Amendment rights and our Second Amendment rights.
Around 6 or 7 people were protesting in front of the Liberty Bell off of Truxtun Avenue. They said they were protesting the order to shelter at home due to coronavirus. Organizers say the economy is taking a hit because of this and businesses should be able to reopen. They also added they plan to head to Sacramento for Operation Gridlock, California. The Kern County Board of Supervisors will be addressing the November election and discussing if action should be taken so people can vote safely. The board will discuss a resolution recommending Governor Newsom issue an executive order regarding the general election on November 3rd. The order would authorize counties to conduct an all mail-in ballot election. The supervisors meeting is set for tomorrow. A resolution will also be brought to the board during the meeting. The Planning and Natural Resources Department is calling for a community development program in response to COVID-19. They are asking that $2.5 million is acquired from the state's Coronavirus Aid, Relief, and Economic Security Act. Officials say in order for Kern County to receive that emergency funding, the budget plan for this fiscal year must be amended to include additional service priorities from the CARES Act. The board will discuss it during tomorrow morning's meeting.
We had a gloomy start to the day across Kern County. That's all due to our latest storm system that's moving through the region. Now, most of the precipitation is actually going to be staying north of the Kern County line. You can see some of that action in the Sierras north of us and over in Las Vegas. But something that we are going to be seeing impacting Kern County from this system is an increase in those winds. So looking at 14-mile-per-hour winds in Bakersfield right now, 11 in Tehachapi, and 28 in Mojave. And these winds will only continue to increase mainly throughout the Kern County mountains and desert through the afternoon hours tomorrow. So with that being said, we are tracking a wind advisory that began at 5 p.m. Those wind gusts could be reaching up to 50 miles per hour, and it will be ending around 10 a.m. on Tuesday. So I'll let you know what these gusty winds mean for air quality as well as temperatures tomorrow, but I have more details on a big warming trend coming up in just a few minutes.
All right, Allison, thanks. Governor Gavin Newsom holding his daily press briefing this afternoon to address the latest developments regarding the pandemic around the state. The governor announcing today that he will provide information on Wednesday regarding stay-at-home restrictions. Now, before making any decision on reopening, Newsom said he'd continue to evaluate the state's progress on 6 key criteria he addressed last week. They included a widespread expansion of testing, vigilant protection for the most vulnerable residents, managing surges at hospitals while providing equipment, and speaking with researchers. The other 2 were redrawing floor plans at businesses, schools, and other buildings with distancing in mind, and then determining when to reinstitute certain measures. Governor Newsom said progress is being made, but some numbers are still rising.
Progress is being made. You are bending the curve. You're beginning to flatten the curve, but it is still nonetheless rising. Deaths continue to rise. Hospitalization numbers modestly continue to rise, and ICU numbers beginning to flatten, but we're not seeing that downward trend we need to see in order to provide more clarity on that roadmap to recovery, which we rolled out last week.
The governor says he will provide more clarity about the stay-at-home restrictions this Wednesday during his briefing. Growing criticism against UK Prime Minister Boris Johnson's response to the coronavirus, saying he didn't take the pandemic seriously enough until he was ill himself with the virus. And as the UK remains on lockdown, other European countries are starting to reopen. ABC's Romina Puga has more.
British Prime Minister Boris Johnson saying he is cautious about easing lockdown restrictions, hoping to avoid a second wave. His critics saying he didn't take the pandemic seriously, though, until falling ill himself, having missed 5 emergency meetings in the early stages of the spread. In Italy, for the first time, there is a decline in the number of new infections as the country is cautiously moving to reopen some small factories and bookstores this week. Today, Denmark opened its doors to small shops and hair salons after a month-long lockdown.
So I have a lot of video conferences and, looking how people are trying to cut themselves, and it looks like they've been through a wood chipper.
Last week, Danish primary and nursery schools reopened. Shoppers in the Czech Republic were able to visit outdoor markets for the first time in over a month.
It was actually very nice to see the products and just choose for your own and to speak a little bit with the owners.
Open-air markets and limited group training for athletes are among the first steps in the country to ease restrictions. Europe's largest economy, Germany, opened small stores as well, though their schools remain closed. And Chancellor Angela Merkel urged Germans not to be lulled into a false sense of security, warning a return to a full shutdown if infections start to rise again. Meantime, in India, the biggest single-day spike in new cases as the government eases one of the world's strictest lockdowns on Monday for some manufacturing and agricultural activity. And Singapore, which had been praised for avoiding a big outbreak, now seeing a spike in cases from infected travelers coming in from abroad.
And Sweden following a different approach, keeping businesses and schools open during the pandemic, urging citizens to follow social distancing guidelines. Their approach now drawing interest around the world as we see the economic damage caused by strict lockdowns. In Los Angeles, Romina Puga, ABC News.
Students in the Kern High School District won't be seeing any letter grades at the end of the school year as KHSD confirms they are adopting a pass-fail grading system. This means no student should receive a grade lower than what they had at the time of the COVID-related school closures in March. Any student who had an F has the opportunity to raise their grade during fourth quarter. This new grading system will be in effect for this spring semester and the 2020 summer session. The university systems will accept these pass, no pass grades in lieu of letter grades for all courses.